Okay. Next. All right. So let me try to grab some of these questions here. Trying to be on time. I got stuff everywhere. Okay. All right. So let's see. So now, little again disclaimer. I'm not going to be able to. Hey, welcome to the room, y'all. Introduce yourself and tell us where you're from. Now, all right. So let's see. So question I got from Jackie. Let's see. Are you flipping, putting in new features, or doing wholesale? Is it a short and sweet process, or does it take a little bit of time to get the house flipped? So my flipping, again, y'all, I came in as a first-time home buyer. I was not an investor. Usually, if you're going to buy an investment property, you have to put down 20% minimum for most institutions and banks. I did not have 20% down payment. I had a 3% down payment, which was given to me as a lender credit. Okay, so I was not an investor, mind you. So I'm not doing the whole flipping, the whole wholesale or flipping as your question, but I did live in the property for a year, a minimum of a year. I renovated the property, and then I sold it after that year requirement. So it does take a time to get a house flipped. Nini's question. Okay, so she mentioned she was interested and wanted to hear more about the process, gather some tips. Okay, so hopefully you guys got some tips. How did you position your loan application? Lori, this was your question. And what criteria did you use to pick the flip? Okay, so how did I position my loan application? So my application for the mortgage, again, was really based upon my strong work history. I had at least 6 months of check stubs to show that I've been employed for a minimum of 6 months. I think that is maybe a requirement for a lot of banks. I also made sure, again, my credit was strong. I went to freecreditreport.com. Everybody has access to at least once a year a free credit report to check what's on there. You can challenge negative things and things like that. So I really just kind of made sure that my application was strong, that I had enough savings in order to get pre-approved for a good amount, which I got pre-approved for $90,000 at that time as a single woman. What criteria did I use to pick the flips? Okay, so I covered that. Deep discount, up and coming neighborhood, y'all, because if you buy it low and it's upcoming, okay, I just explained how I was able to flip that, to get to profit from that specific piece of criteria. Very key. How did I pick? So hopefully that answers your question, Lori. I don't know, feel free to again ask me some extra questions on there. Let's see. Ladarius, how did you pick the location of the home, or what research did you use to select the property flipped? I explained earlier that I went to the city that I lived in. I went to their urban planning and development resources on their website. You could just kind of Google and use some of those key terms: urban planning, development, city plans, just to kind of see what are some of the developments that are going to be future planning for your area, and that way you can kind of see where maybe the market might be trending. As far as contractors go, did you have to employ someone, or did you know someone? Okay, so we went through a referral. Okay, Jesus hooked us up with Jesus, and he was very, very discounted his services, and we had to do a lot of active management in order to make sure the house was in good condition for the repairs. Okay, let's see. Do I need, this question was from Portea. Great question, Ms. Donna. No, I'm actually here in Philly. I'm actually in Darby now, Darby, PA, Delaware County. So I'm back home. So I sold the property and then moved back to Philadelphia in 2018. So this question from Portia. Do I need a business license to take up a loan which protects my personal credit, or should I use a personal loan? Okay, so do you need a business license to take up a loan which protects my personal credit, or should I use a personal loan? I'm going to say for this first question, it really depends. I'm not an expert in this area, okay, but I'm going to tell you kind of what I know and what has worked, or as I understand it. It depends on the purpose of the property. Or it depends on your financial position. If you have a business and you want to have your business purchase a property, that I'm sure there's a separate process for that. So you may want to speak with your financial institution if that's something you're interested in. I hope that answers that question. Or should I use a personal loan? For me, to purchase the property, I used a mortgage. So that was a personal mortgage. I didn't have a bank that used it. I mean, a business that took on the loan for me. Okay. Is it more profitable to go through an auction to purchase? What are the pros and cons? Thank you. Good morning. I'm not familiar with auction purchases. I can't really answer that question. Yeah, you may want to do some research on that. Hey, real quick, y'all, there is a really great resource that I did use during this time. It was called biggerpockets.com. That is a phenomenal, excellent website, biggerpockets.com. It's all about real estate. It's all about resources and tools. And that was actually something that I heavily used and actually was utilizing during this process. Biggerpockets.com. Okay, so let's see. Karina, Lee and I are flipping in New Jersey, but I would like to know what your process is for Philadelphia, because we want to join the Philadelphia market. Also, what contractors did you work with? That's great. So you guys are already flipping in New Jersey, so you already understand the flipping process, it sounds like. Now, Philadelphia, okay. Philadelphia market, I haven't flipped in Philadelphia. Now, what I did do is I purchased my second property now, and all right, thank you guys for coming in. I know it's 9:16. Thank you. I'm gonna keep going, maybe for another 30 minutes or so. If you gotta leave, appreciate you. If you have questions, hit me up, DM me, email me. Thank you for coming on. I hope it was helpful for you. Okay, let's see. So again, to your question, Karina, I don't know. I don't know about the Philadelphia market for flipping houses. I did actually purchase my property in Delaware County, and actually I did a similar process, y'all. Y'all know what I did. Y'all know what I did. Guess what I did again? Guess what I did again for my second property? Y'all think I'm playing? I'm living right now in my second property because I wrote it down. I made it plain. Now, I have a property in, what I believe, again, my assessments, the research that I did, up and coming neighborhoods. So now the neighborhood, you take a little bit of a risk when you kind of, are considering living in a neighborhood that's not fully developed or is fully popular. There might be more crime. There might be just things going on. You kind of take that risk. But again, for me, the long-term rewards, it paid off. Okay. So let's see. Thank you guys for joining. So appreciate you. Thank you so much, Miss Don. Thank you, Angel. Okay, so some of these questions I already answered. My question is, what did you learn? This was from Siobhan. My question is, what did you learn from everyone buying and flipping? Everyone buying and flipping should know. Did you change your strategy with COVID? This is a great question. So when it comes to my buying and flipping process, pretty much just like showed me that you do not have to be an investor in order to flip a home. You can actually buy a home as a first-time home buyer and sacrifice a little bit, take out some extra debt if you can afford it within a reasonable cost, right? Because you don't want to take out like a whole bunch of money and not be able to afford paying that back if something were to happen with your job, you lose your job or something. So really kind of write it down, do your spreadsheet, work it out, make sure that it makes sense for your budget. And if you guys I do a lot of budgeting. I'm a personal budgeter. I recommend everybody, again, just it's a great way to outline and see what your, a snapshot of your finances. Did I change my strategy with COVID? Okay, so I really didn't kind of talk about this on this call about buying my second property. I was primarily just talking about how I was able to go from buying this home, renovating it and flipping it. I can definitely do maybe like another one, talk about the second home that I purchased, because it was more streamlined. I will definitely admit it was very similar to the first process, but because I already had gone through the process before, I was able to kind of understand things a little bit better and just very kind of quickly move through the process. Like I already knew to get all my financials together, check my credit, get my bank account statements ready for the lender. I knew all of those things going in, so it was a lot more quicker for me to purchase my second property the second time around. And check this, I don't know if you guys know this, and I'm not sure, Miss Donna, if you're still on, but one thing that you can, one thing people don't know is that you are considered a home buyer a first-time home buyer, as long as you haven't owned like a property or lived in a property for at least, or excuse me, as long as you haven't like, let me start that over because it's a little tricky. You are considered a first-time home buyer by lenders as long as you have not owned a property or lived in a property for at least 3 years. So after I sold my first property, which was in December of 2016, I had already 3 years go by. Guess what? Now I am considered a first-time home buyer again. Can you believe that? I already owned my first-time home and bought and sold it, flipped it. But guess what? I actually came in again this time and qualified as a first-time home buyer for my second property because I didn't live or own a property in the last 3 years since I last sold my last house. So guess what? That provided more opportunity. That actually gave me access to another grant. I actually got another home buyer assistant grant and a down payment grant because I was considered a first-time home buyer again because I hadn't owned or lived in a property for at least 3 years. So guys, this process, if you do research, if you get connected with people who have information, you can really do again, kind of build wealth and create wealth within what's up JR, you can really create wealth within a short period of time. So that's basically it, y'all. I mean, so like I said, I may do another one of these. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys want to talk some more about it. The second property, I could definitely do maybe like another one of these and talk about that because that process was a little bit different. Again, I went through very quickly, but there were some things that I had prioritized and had better outline for the second time around. So yeah. So I again just thank everybody for coming on. It's 9:22. I know you guys, some of you have been hanging out with me for the whole hour. Appreciate you. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you got some good tips and advice, not advice, but some good info and some good tips on the home buying process and as far as how I went through it and what I did in order to achieve that. So I think oh my gosh, I have another page of questions. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through all these questions, y'all. Okay. No, some of these questions I already answered on here. Oh, you're so welcome. No problem. Appreciate you. Okay, so how did I already talked about how I was able to flip the house without using my own money. Okay, the Home Depot project loan. I already talked about what you should look for in a property. Let me go a little bit deeper in that. What to look for in a property. Now, again, it really has to kind of center around what your personal criteria is. For me, that's what I did. But I also made sure that the property wasn't really like really bad or run down or just had too much work beyond what I could financially cover or pay for. What was interesting about my property was that, based on the inspection report, I was comfortable investing and making that decision to buy that home because I knew that, like, okay, again, up and coming neighborhood, this property is going to go up in value. I could see myself paying to fix this issue with the structural shifting that was happening underneath the house. And so those things didn't necessarily scare me, but it was more so that you kind of have to weigh the risks versus the return or the reward, kind of weigh it. If the house looks like it's getting ready to just topple over, with some windstorm, then no, you don't want to look at those properties. You want to make sure it has solid hardwood floors. Oh yes, okay. Can we? Y'all saw the floors? Some of you guys left. If you saw the floors, hardwood floors for me do kind of indicate good condition of the home. Not gonna lie, because I do kind of look for that primarily. I also look for roof. How long was the before the roof was replaced, because that's going to cost me an extra $3,000 to $5,000 in the short term if there's a leak. I look for just making sure there's no real crazy structural damage that may have to cause structural engineering to come in. And let me see, what else I look for in property. I mean, I would just say those couple of things. Kind of use your common sense and go with your gut. If you do feel like a property is just not it, just don't even. But if you see that there's value in it, then research that and look into it for a little bit more. Okay. I've already answered some of these questions. Okay. Do you guys have any other questions? I don't know who's still on here. Who's hanging out with me? I'm getting ready to close down at 9:30. Okay. All right. How to purchase your property or credit? Oh, this is actually a very good question, David. I don't know if you're still on. How to purchase a house when your credit is in the 700? All right. So it's all about what the lenders are comfortable backing, right? So if you're someone whose credit is not 700, 600, or even 500, that is okay. But definitely you may need to analyze and review some things. But it's not impossible for you to purchase a home if your credit is not a 700 or 600 or 500. I personally have been hearing stories from individuals that in Philadelphia that have been getting approved for mortgages, not necessarily through like with the large institutions, because sometimes it's all about what they're comfortable risking and backing in terms of underwriting. They may not be comfortable underwriting a mortgage for an individual who has credit that's not in their comfort zone. So it really does depend on the lender's comfortability in that. But that being said, you can still contact. That's why I said get your little lending sheet and write it down and shop around, because there are lenders who will actually underwrite a loan if your credit is lower than what may be normal. Hi, welcome to the room. What's up, Jamal? Hey guys. Appreciate you. No problem at all. My pleasure. Okay, so I'm gonna try to get through some of these questions before 9:30, y'all. My voice is going out a little bit. Okay. Financial aspects. Okay, I already answered that question. Did I have any experience in real estate at all? The answer is no. I had no real estate experience. I was a first-time home buyer. Just like if you've never owned a property, you are a first-time home buyer. But you can go in and turn it around and sell it and make a profit. This is basically what I did. Okay. So, how do I get started? I don't know where to start. I love the idea of building wealth on your own and not waiting for a 9-to-5 to pay for it. But how do I even get started? I talked a little bit about the getting started process, which is primarily, again, get clear on what your dream is or your vision. Follow through and take action on your plan. Let's see. Is there a way to get pre-approved without a hard inquiry? That's a great question. A great question, Chris. I'm not sure exactly. I want to say no. I don't. know for exactly sure. I think that is dependent upon the financial institution. For my particular pre-approval process, it is a hard inquiry, because they have to pull your credit in order to give you a gauge of how much, how much house you can buy. So what you may be able to do is, there may be some websites. Now, be careful, do your due diligence. If you're going to do some research on this, you may be able to kind of get like an estimate of how much home you can afford by going to, there's a great website called bankrate.com. Let me see, bankrate.com, which actually has like an estimator of how much house you may be able to get, without actually getting your credit pulled or having a hard inquiry. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Bankrate. So I gave y'all one resource earlier, which was biggerpockets.com, BIGGER, bigger pockets, like jeanpockets.com. That's a great website for you. That's where I did a lot of my research. They have great, excellent spreadsheets, worksheets. Go check them out. Bankrate.com does have a mortgage calculator, so I don't know if that necessarily answers your question, but it is something that you can kind of maybe see, how much you might be pre-approved for based on, I think they check like maybe your income, annual income. They may check like your, you can put in what your estimated credit score is, and maybe you get an idea there. No problem. Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay. What are the best tips for financing the flip? Okay, the best tips for financing the flip, I talked about that. For me personally, I took out a Home Depot project loan and also did a cash advance on my credit card. Now, definitely cash advances on credit cards, those interest rates tend to be higher. Be careful. Be careful with that, because, you don't really want anything that's going to be like 29%. Is the interest rate when you try to take out like $3,000. That's really high, unless you can afford it. But still, that's a pretty high interest rate. How soon after the renovation should you sell? Man, y'all, I know it's a couple of y'all on here, and I didn't mention it earlier, but y'all, had I still held on to my home, I kind of want y'all to tell me how much y'all think my house is worth now, had I held on to it. Right in the chat, tell me how much you think the house that I purchased for $70,000 sold for $160,000, and if I had still held onto that property, how much that home will be worth today, or actually is worth today. Excuse me. I almost cried yesterday when I saw it. Nah, keep going. Keep going. Let me see if I got it on here. No. Good one, Omar. No. I would no. Keep going down. You're going a little too high. I don't. Let me see if I can type that real quickie. All right, here we go. I'm about to show y'all. Look how much my house is worth now. Or I can't say my house because it's not my house no more. My house was worth more. Is now. Okay. Should I say anything else? Crazy, right? Crazy. That house is almost worth $300,000. I purchased it for $70,000. I would have 200. If I had that home, I could take out $200,000. If I held that property today, you know how much I could take money out of that property. I can get a line of credit. I could take the equity out. I could refinance the mortgage, take that extra equity out. I could do so much with that $200,000. The fact that the house now is worth $273,000 blows my mind. I'm low-key hurt, but I've learned a very, very valuable lesson, which is buy and hold. So it's a little, I guess, out beyond the house flipping, but it just goes to show you that within real estate, there is very good potential to build wealth by leveraging credit responsibly, of course. So so that is my story. So I guess kind of like my parting thoughts. I think for my house that I have now, I think this is going to be, I'm definitely not selling. Okay. I flipped my property. Now, flipping has its purposes. You just have to define what type of investor you are. You may want to flip. You may want to get the cash and run. Okay. What? Okay. Oh my, what? Yeah. So I mean, my strategy kind of going forward is like, I'm more so of a oh man, oh I know you was hurt. I heard that stock went crazy. um you go ahead and just identify and define like what type of investor you are. If you're a buy and hold type of person, if you're a flipper, if you're just a renter, or excuse me, like a landlord or renter. So, you know, go ahead and do that. I think for me going forward, I'm just going to go ahead and just like hold on to the properties just for that main reason. 273. I bought it for 70s, $200,000 more. I could take that equity out and buy a whole bunch of houses now. But I'm still young. I have some time. I can do it again. That's why I'm going to be holding on to my properties going forward. And I'm most likely, once I complete my 1 year requirement to live here, because again, I got a 1 year requirement to live in this house while I'm fixing it up. I'm putting in my own sweat equity, and now I can go ahead and go out there and just and buy another property and rent this thing out. Okay, so so yeah, y'all, it's 9:37. I don't know who's still in here hanging out with me, but thanks for being here. I'm so glad that I did this. I'm glad that you guys felt, really enjoyed it and, got some helpful information about my experience in the home buying process. So send me a DM. Let me know what you think. If I should do another one of these, if you have questions, follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm on here. But I'm going to shut this thing down. Thank you guys. Much love to you. Appreciate you. Hopefully, I'll see you guys on the next one. How do I close this thing? Oh my gosh, I feel like a grandma. Okay. Yes.